And welcome back to CentralCoastRadio.com. Well, I know we've been saying this a lot just recently, but we're about to take a look at another one of the big blockbusters of this year. Yes, it is Ethan Hunt back in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yes, Tom Cruise back to his famous Mission Impossible role, which now, strangely enough, has nearly spanned 30 years, with how long he's been doing this franchise. This one has been billed as one of the most epic that we will see in this franchise, and I think it definitely lives up to that. Lee, what did you think of the brand new Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1?
It is certainly bigger and better. This is one that I have been super excited about for a long time. I think every time Tom Cruise does a movie, he lifts the game. Like, it is bigger, it's better. You have to say he's a stuntsman as well. Like, he's certainly an actor. He is an amazing actor, but he also does so many stunts. He is a stuntsman.
Yeah.
And this does not disappoint.
Yeah, and him and Christopher McQuarrie were actually having a fight at the premiere the other night here in Australia about who came up with what stunt. Like, Christopher McQuarrie's been working with Tom Cruise now for years, like on Mission Impossible, Top Gun, Maverick, and all of that. But they were actually having a debate about, no, you came up with the motorbike, I came up with the train. It's like they put as much work into their special effects and their stunts than they actually do the story. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely very committed to how well these stunts play out, and they risk their life to do it, to be honest. And you can't not be in awe of that. So I loved this movie. I certainly am excited for part 2. I would like to watch it tomorrow. I don't like having to wait, actually. But there's great performances from the cast. Of course, Tom, leading man, as Ethan Hunt. It's the typical, you've got to protect or retrieve an item, keep it secret, certainly the usual Mission Impossible feel to it. And yeah, it's just visually amazing. And you get a lot of action as usual, I love the scene with him with the motorbike going over the cliff. Now, that is in the trailer, so I'm not giving too much away about that. But I would recommend that if anyone hasn't seen the making of little clip of him jumping off the cliff, go see it, because that will give you an idea of how seriously Tom takes his role in playing Ethan, and what he would do for a scene to look visually stunning, to be massively impressive, and to do things that other actors would not do. I love the train scenes in this movie too. Now, you do get a lot of the typical, crawling across a roof, running across a roof, ducking for tunnels coming, falling off the train, someone pulling you back on, all those things. But there was a lot more to this train scene than just that. And it did have me hanging on the edge of my seat, really, with my heart thumping, as they're trying to save their lives. And I won't say who's saving their life, but yeah, it's a great scene. There's so much in this. I love the submarine the submarine scenes, and I love the concept of what happens in that submarine. Won't give that away, but
yeah, they've kept
I thought
the
it was
plot
very clever.
I think one of the things I love about this film is they've kept the plot so secret, and the plot of this is such a good plot as well, like the way it meanders through. So
yeah, and of course there's beautiful background. If you look at the scenes of the movie, it's visually stunning, even because there's a lot of travel involved, of course, in these sorts of movies, and beautiful buildings and lots of characters, of course. But I liked the whole premise of the film, to be honest, and I thought all the cast members did really well. Yeah, I love the acting of Rebecca Ferguson, and yeah, she's probably a standout for me. And of course, there's Simon Pegg in this. He's great. Now, there are some amusing bits through this as well. And so I thought that was nice that was brought into it. And yeah, there's lots of great actors in here. I won't say too much, Dave, because I want you to obviously share your views on the film. But I highly recommend seeing this film.
Yeah, I don't think the writers of this franchise fall into the traps that some of the writers in other franchises do. Like, the big new character here is Grace, played by Hayley Atwell, and she's a likable character from the very start. Like, she comes into it as a pickpocket. She captures Ethan's attention straight away, kind of thing, because he sees a little bit of himself in her. But I think what I liked about this is a movie where, because of the storyline, Ethan's got to face some of his ghosts, and they come back really, really well in this film. Not giving anything away because people know Rebecca Ferguson's in it. Isla is back in this film. But we also get characters like the White Widow, played by Vanessa Kirby, that return. Simon Pegg, of course, is back as Benji, which we all know and love. Ving Rhames is back as well, which we expected. But there's also characters like Gabriel that I guess only hardcore Mission Impossible fans will remember what he did. But that's very much the plot line of this, is that in order to be able to do what he has to do, Ethan has to face a lot of ghosts from his past with the different things that he's doing. So it ends up kind of being one of those movies where there's a lot of new things in the film, but there's also a lot of past things in there. So I think this is actually one of those films where you probably need to go back and watch the past films before you come and see this one. For fans of the Marvel Universe, of course, you're going to be excited by the fact that Hayley Atwell is there because you've got Agent Carter. But of course, Pom Klementieff makes an appearance in this as well, as a character that I won't go too much into because she's got a very, very interesting role, but she plays a character called Paris, and I think she's actually one of the stars of this film with the way that she plays that character of Paris in this film. But I think what I loved about this film was so many movies these days are ruined by trailers. Like, you know where the story is going to go. I really, really love the fact that with Mission Impossible, we didn't know where it was going to go. Like, when the film started on a submarine, I was kind of like, what's going on here? Like, this is very Hunt for Red October. But it just works. Like, no matter what they do in this. And we talked a little bit before about how cliched the train kind of sequence was in Indiana Jones. But in Mission Impossible, there's a few cliches there in that train sequence, but Christopher McQuarrie is such a good director that he ends that sequence with something that we haven't seen before, and it's just like, I won't go into spoilers for which characters are going through it, but the characters are pushed to the absolute limit in that scene. But no matter the action sequences that are happening in Mission Impossible, the characterization is always there. I say that specifically for Tom Cruise and Simon Pegg. No matter what their characters are going through in this film, the characterization is there. There's one moment in this film where, to save the day, it is Benji that has to save the day. Again, I'm not going to give away a spoiler, but Ethan can't make it in time to stop what's going to happen, so Benji has to do it. And I reckon you actually learn so much about Benji as a character in that part of that movie, than you would learn in a whole bunch of other movies where you've got a character that's on the screen for like 90 minutes. Like, it's so well done. What did you think of Simon Pegg in this one? Because I love Simon Pegg, but I thought he took his character of Benji to a whole new level in this film.
Yeah, and I think, we're used to seeing him as, in comedies as well.
And he was kind of the comedic character in Mission Impossible when he first started too, yeah.
Yeah, but I think, there's some really serious scenes in here, and he has to really step it up. And I think he did a really brilliant job. And yeah, I really think that he's an actor that's quite diverse and can definitely do these roles. Yeah.
What were your thoughts on Pom Clementine and also Hayley Atwell's characters coming into this one?
So I think with Hayley, I think a newer character. You're not sure. Do you trust her? Do you not trust her? Obviously playing the role of Grace, and
which is kind of how Ethan has to see her as well. Like, can he trust her or can he not trust her?
Can he not trust her? Where is her character going to end up? There's intrigue there.
Yep.
And that's carried off really well. But also, she's a strong character and gives Ethan a run for his money.
Yeah.
But then there's moments of she needs to rely on him. But then is she going to actually be loyal, disloyal, all those sorts of things. So that was really good.
And Pom, she doesn't get to hide behind her mantis.
No.
Here this time around.
Very different role here. A very strong character as well. I think, all the women and men in this are very, very strong characters. And each bring their own unique personalities to the role, and that keeps you engaged. I really enjoyed her performance as well, to be honest, and she was an intriguing character, as I said.
I find I like the way that they test the characters as well. Like, so many franchises would have just made the White Widow an unlikable character because she's technically the villain of the piece. But
I like her.
Yeah, and they test her in this as well. It's like, okay, so you are a villain, you are all about money, but how are you going to go now that what you've got will actually end humanity, like, kind of thing. And also the interesting part there is, without giving too much away, Vanessa Kirby at times has to play a character playing her character as well, which is like a bit of an interesting test for Vanessa Kirby as well. But it works. And like, considering that a great deal of this movie, once all of the action set pieces happen, is set on a train, it works remarkably well, because that could have got very, very boring very, very quickly, but it didn't. And having them all on the train, it's kind of like that film that came out last year. I don't think you saw it. Bullet Train with you did see it,
I did see that, yeah.
With that film, they did that so well, where all of the action is set on the train, and they do that very, very well in the second half of this film as well. So
the other performances I really enjoyed was the characters of Luther and Eugene. I don't want to go too much into their storylines either, but I really think they bring a lot to this movie. I think the movie wouldn't be the same without them, for sure.
Yeah, so I think this is one of the times this year when one of the blockbusters has not let us down. What are you going to give Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 out of 5?
I'm going to get 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. I really, really did love this, and I can't wait to see where the next film goes in this franchise, because this has left me definitely wanting more. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is a general release, so it'll be showing in a cinema near you, so check your local cinema guide. You are listening to centralcoastradio.com.